Harris went on Colbert last night. It was one reject consoling another. It felt like Tim Walz giving himself a pep talk in the ladies' room mirror. It was Kamala's first interview since her brutal election loss. But I wonder, is she there to sell a book?
I talk about it in the book. What I talk about in the book. So this book, I talk about in the book. I hope by writing this.
When Greg Gutfeld went after Stephen Colbert, it wasn't just a jab, it was a full-on comedic demolition. Colbert's polished persona and predictable punchlines were no match for Gutfeld's sharp-edged humor and unapologetic delivery. What unfolded was a merciless deconstruction of everything phony about late-night TV. No canned laughter. No cue cards, just Gutfeld tearing down the facade, joke by joke. If Colbert was the crowned king of smug, Gutfeld didn't just challenge the throne, he lit the whole stage on fire and walked away smiling.
These guys, my show, and we're only in 61 million homes. CBS reaches nearly 300 million Americans. They don't talk about that. He also had 200 staffers. I employ nothing but teenage runaways. And by the way, I don't even pay them. Ha! Anyway, I love how they claimed it's a financial reason, but everything is a financial reason, right? If you open up a restaurant, you serve lousy food, people stop coming, you close it, you don't say because the food sucked. You said, whoa, it was a financial.
Stephen Colbert is what you get when late-night comedy trades laughs for self-congratulation. He's the kind of guy who mistakes his own applause for a punchline. At this point, calling his show comedy is like calling a vending machine fine dining. Greg Gutfeld didn't just roast him, he lit him up with everything Colbert smugly pretends doesn't exist, because when Gutfeld shows up, irony doesn't tiptoe and quietly it crashes the party riding a clown car packed with fireworks and truth bombs.
Power away! It's the whole reason you're sitting in that crappy chair and Trump is relieving himself in a toilet made of gold. But the interview is amazing for giving you a glimpse of an alternate universe where misery is redefined as joyful and the winner is still a monster. In the extended interview posted online, Colbert longed for better days before Trump kicked her ass. Because less than a year ago, things were very joyful.
Just less than a year ago, things were very joyful. There was actually a lot of hope associated with your campaign.
Colbert built his whole act on being the smartest guy in the room. Problem is, he forgot that being smart usually involves saying something clever. Instead, he lobs political punchlines like stale Halloween candy, unwanted, flavorless, and weirdly sticky. Greg Gutfeld didn't need a scalpel to find the weak spots. The Colbert persona is barely held together with ego, legacy media denial, and the ghost of canned laughter that only survives in post-production.
And Seth Meyers, John Oliver, and Jon Stewart showed their support for Stephen Colbert by appearing on his show. It's the most laughs network TV had since they showed Sophie's Choice with limited commercial interruption. Since Colbert's firing, Jon Stewart told CBS to go F yourself, and Colbert told Trump to go F yourself. Wow, $100 million worth of writers must really have paid.
Colbert went from sharp satirist to a walking teleprompter for the DNC. He's not telling jokes anymore, he's reading press releases with a smirk and calling it comedy, and whenever he tries to sound edgy, his eyebrows start overacting like they're gunning for their own late-night slot. Gutfeld didn't need a monologue to cut through it, he just pointed at the circus and asked the obvious, how long can someone pretend to be bold while applauding their own safest take?
So Joe, I couldn't help but notice Kamala's face when Colbert was talking about how joyful it was. She looked at him like he was insane.
Yeah. He was. By the way, congrats on Fallon. I don't mean to one-up you, but I'm in talks with the people at the mic.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency in NYC due to severe flooding. Still not sure if it was caused by the rain or this man's tears.
Is wearing glasses and nodding solemnly into the camera. His entire comedic toolkit boils down to irony and exaggerated enunciation. Greg Gutfeld took one look at that self-important desk monologue routine and tore it apart with the skill of someone who actually gets timing, tone, and the radical concept of not trying so hard. Because when Colbert tries to be funny, it feels less like comedy and more like a book report delivered by a theater kid who just discovered sarcasm.
Right? If you open up a restaurant, you serve lousy food, people stop coming, you close it, you don't say because the food sucked. You said, whoa, it was a financial reason. But they didn't just They didn't cancel his show. They canceled the whole show.
Yeah.
This was a quote institution, and they said rather than put somebody in his place.
The real joke is that Colbert still acts like he's pushing boundaries when the only line he's ever crossed is the one between yawn and cringe. He's basically a Hallmark card with a thesaurus. Gutfeld didn't just dismantle his act. He exposed it for what it is: safe, scripted, and smug. There's nothing edgy about a guy who spends 10 minutes turning a Senate hearing into a snoozeworthy, stand-up routine his own writers can't even stay awake through. Remember when late night had teeth? Now we get Stephen Colbert doing a nightly interpretive dance of moral superiority, every punchline coated in NPR tone seriousness and delivered like a TED Talk about how clever he thinks he is. Gutfeld didn't need props or gimmicks to tear that down, just timing, wit, and the radical act of being actually funny. Colbert is that rare performer who manages to both oversell and underdeliver. Every joke feels like a lecture with a smirk, not the good kind, but the kind that screams, "I just Googled this and now I'm the expert." Gutfeld didn't just roast him. He peeled back the layers of recycled satire and found a man desperately trying to cosplay relevance propped up by studio laughter and legacy applause.
They never get that the free market means exactly that. Free to fire someone who's stinking up a market. Like they took a dump in the produce section. That show, his show, was like the dope who maxes out his credit card because he thinks the stripper really likes him. Oh, you got 2 jokes for the price of 1. But that's not fascism, that's math. But for the left, math is what happens.
And then there's the studio audience, less a crowd, more a human laugh track trained to respond to smugness like Pavlov's dog with a sociology degree. Honestly, Greg could have filled Colbert's seats with bobbleheads and gotten more authentic reactions. But when your show functions as a safe space for people allergic to real comedy, authenticity doesn't exactly make the call sheet. Colbert's version of political commentary, it's basically reading a Twitter thread out loud and calling it profound. There's a reason Gutfeld's star is rising while Colbert's name is whispered in Starbucks lines by people trying to remember who still watches cable. Greg's take wasn't just joke for joke, it was a full reveal of how hollow the act had become. Gutfeld didn't go after Colbert like a rival. He went after him like a guy walking past a mannequin in a comedy shop window, wondering why it's still priced like it's new. Because Colbert's whole bit is built on nostalgia for a time when just being anti-something passed for personality. These days, the only thing he's truly anti is spontaneity.
Predictable outrage ensued with demands that Colbert be fired. 2 days later, he responded.
If you saw my monologue on Monday, you know that I was a little upset with Donald Trump for insulting a friend of mine. So, at the end of that monologue, I had a few choice insults for the president in return. I don't regret that. So while I would do it again, I would change a few words that were cruder than they needed to be.
So he didn't regret the joke, only the language. Again, I don't care. It's jokes.
1. Colbert loves to act like he's the moral compass of late night, but that needle's been spinning in circles for years. One day he's mocking politicians. The next he's sipping oat milk lattes with them in studio, like old college buddies. Greg Gutfeld stepped into that glittery, self-congratulatory mess and kicked the pedestal out from under it. The truth isn't hard to spot when someone builds their entire act around spotlighting their own echo chamber. What's truly hilarious is that Colbert still thinks he's the rebel in the room while parroting every safe, LinkedIn opinion like a corporate motivational speaker with a comedy degree. Gutfeld didn't just question the laugh, he dismantled it, like a car with 4 flat tires. No fancy tools needed, just a flashlight and a working sense of humor. Because when your show depends on your own laughter to tell the audience when to laugh, you've stopped being a comedian and started being your own laugh track. Gutfeld didn't just poke holes in the Colbert routine, he revealed the blueprint. Every episode is a Mad Lib of predictable jabs, hollow outrage, and audience validation dressed up as punchlines. It's like watching someone play Jenga with truth only. The blocks are glued together with virtue signaling. The tower's still standing, sure, but no one's enjoying.
My show exists is because of the arrogance and the ego and the assumptions that the liberals have who turned comedy sideways. You know, people find my show entertaining because I'm saying things that they're thinking that they thought they couldn't say because everybody else has made it so suffocating. I also have, like, I take issue with the biggest lie you're seeing here, which is that, you know, Colbert or Kimmel were somehow risk takers. They've had very long, rewarding, lucrative careers doing exactly what was expected from them. Just so happens the audience found an alternative.
One win Lunwang. Colbert likes to present himself as the guy who's in on the joke, but the joke passed him by 5 years ago in a Prius packed with actual comedians. Gutfeld's roast wasn't just about torching a rival. It was about freeing late night from the tyranny of tepid snark dressed up as wisdom. Because when Colbert gets serious, it's never insightful. It's just louder, slower, and framed, with more dramatic camera cuts. And that's at my god, it looks like what happens when a political science major tries to design a game show. Gutfeld doesn't need neon lights and mahogany panels to land a punchline. Colbert's stage is a soft place for people who want to feel smart without laughing too hard. But when Gutfeld walks in, there's no safe zone. Just the joke, the truth, and the ashes of whatever Colbert tried to pass off as commentary. Gutfeld doesn't punch down. He punches through the fluff, the sanctimony, and right into the soft underbelly of late-night fraudulence. Colbert, once the golden child of political parody, has morphed into a grown man using cue cards to express feelings. And Gutfeld simply asked the question everyone's been tiptoeing around: how did we get here, and why is everyone still pretending?
Imagine being a chef, you know, you're such a bad chef that they cancel food. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I guess he's less popular than Shingles, but you get this, like, you get this, it's so obvious. You can't do a comedy show and a sermon at the same time. Your job is to say something funny, not being the show that says, that's not funny, about all the things that are just too grim to talk about. I'm old enough to remember when they used to say, the TV critics used to say that the right can't be funny. Well, guess what? You know what kills your...
Call him clever. But clever is just a consolation prize. When Funny packed its bags back in 2017, Greg took the polite applause and turned it into a standing ovation by reminding everyone what late-night comedy used to be: unfiltered, unafraid, and...
But are we on the precipice of entering a censorship state?
We are on the precipice of entering a censorship state in which Donald Trump is using the powers of the federal government in order to erase criticism from the airwaves. Stephen Colbert didn't get thrown off the air because he wasn't doing well.
Why's he doing that on the toilet?
Let's call him clever. But clever is just a consolation prize. When Funny packed its bags back in 2017, Greg took the polite applause and turned it into a standing ovation by reminding everyone what late-night comedy used to be: unfiltered, unafraid,